First game that we have to talk about on this episode are the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Carolina Panthers. Now, Baltimore defeated the Saints last week 17-14, and Carolina was defeated by the Indianapolis Colts 18-21. Now, when you watched the Ravens last week, obviously something that was on full display was how much talent and depth that they have at the secondary. Cornerback and safety is incredibly deep for Baltimore. As a matter of fact, you probably could say that Baltimore has the best safety and cornerback position groups in the whole entire NFL. You had Geno Stone, who had 2 interceptions. You have Sean Wade, who had the game-winning interception against Ian Book. You also have Brandon Stephens, Chris Westry, Darius Washington, an undrafted rookie free agent, who also performed really good. So their whole entire secondary is incredibly deep, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do against the Carolina Panthers wide receiving core, which the Carolina Panthers, their best receiver from last game, in my opinion, was Terence Marshall. Terence Marshall had a really nice showing in his first ever NFL game. Not officially, since this is the preseason. It's more like an exhibition, but it was really good to see what Terence Marshall was able to do. I have been really high on Terence Marshall. I think that he could have a pretty solid rookie season for the Carolina Panthers. He had a nice little touchdown where P.J. Walker was able to scramble outside the pocket and was able to extend the play and get the ball out to Terence Marshall. So Terence Marshall had a really good performance last week against Indianapolis, and he's definitely going to be tested against a really good Baltimore secondary. Now, for the Ravens, you also have a backup quarterback battle that's going on between Tyler Huntley and Trace Mcsorley. Now, I think that Tyler Huntley, from last week's performance, I think that he has to probably be in the league. He was 12 of 16 for 79 passing yards. He also had 43 rushing yards on 7 carries, and he also had a rushing touchdown as well. Now, Trace Mcsorley didn't play bad. He was 11 of 18, 86 passing yards, but he did throw an interception, but he ran for 25 rushing yards also. I just think that Trace Mcsorley, the offense didn't run as smooth under him when he was at the helm at quarterback compared to how it ran under Tyler Huntley. When Tyler Huntley was at quarterback, the offense was a little bit more efficient compared to when Trace Mcsorley was in there. So I think that Tyler Huntley definitely is in the league right now when it comes to that backup quarterback battle behind Lamar Jackson. And also, I think that Tyler Huntley is a way more explosive runner compared to Trace Mcsorley. Like, when you watch Tyler Huntley run, like, you would think that you would be seeing another version of Lamar Jackson, because this guy is incredibly explosive in his own right. Now, you know, he doesn't have that acceleration that Lamar Jackson has, but if you didn't know who these two guys were and they both had the same jersey number, I see a lot of, you know, similar characteristics in terms of how those two quarterbacks run. Like, they're very explosive. Now, as we all know, Lamar Jackson is way more faster, but when I watch Tyler Huntley run, man, like, I definitely see a lot of similarities to Lamar Jackson's running style. So it's still really interesting to keep tabs on this, because we don't know if Baltimore is going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. They could keep 2, but I could also see them keeping 3 in case, unfortunately, you know, you got to have like a COVID relief quarterback. Now, the offensive line had their ups and downs. I think that it struggled for the most part last week. It's interesting to see what this offensive line does against Carolina, because the offensive line didn't really have a couple of key starters. Ronnie Stanley didn't play, Kevin Zeitler didn't play, and neither did Ben Cleveland. He also didn't participate in last week's preseason matchup. So if those guys do play in this game, I want to see the improvement from the offensive line, because the offensive line wasn't all that great, which I think is a big reason why the quarterbacks didn't have, you know, the great production that we're looking for when it comes to that backup job. So I think if the offensive line can improve, we should see the quarterback play improve also, along with the running game. Now, for Carolina, I had a couple of Panthers fans ask me this on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure that you go ahead and you follow me on those. My link to my Twitter and Instagram is down in the description down below, JT_Sports_. But I had a Panthers fan ask me in the comment section of one of my videos also, is PJ Walker better than Sam Darnold? Now, PJ Walker had a pretty nice performance against Indianapolis last week. He was 10 of 21, 161 passing yards and a touchdown. He was able to get outside the pocket and extend plays. He looked really solid, but I wouldn't go as far to say as him being better than Sam Darnold. I still think Sam Darnold is the better option right now, and I still think he's the best quarterback on the team due to the fact that I think he's a little bit more accurate, and I think that he's a little bit more polished than PJ Walker. With PJ Walker, we definitely saw some really good plays. We saw some brilliance there when he was able to extend the play, step up in the pocket when the pocket was collapsing, move out like we saw. He was outside that pocket when he threw that pass to Terence Marshall, which went for a lot of yards. So when I look at PJ Walker as of right now, I just see him as a really good backup quarterback. I don't really know right now if he's better than Sam Darnold. And a lot of you Panthers fans got to understand that you're saying this based off one preseason game. Okay, for all we know, PJ Walker could play terrible for the next 2 preseason games. So it's a little bit too early to be coming out here making these statements that PJ Walker is better than Sam Darnold, or is he not? Could he be challenging Sam Darnold? Like, we know that Sam Darnold is going to be the guy come week 1. So a lot of people, when it comes to these week 1 preseason games, they tend to get a little bit too excited, and you haven't watched football in a very long time, so of course you're going to be really excited when you have a player on your team that performs really well, but you have to take everything with a grain of salt. It's the only preseason game that PJ Walker has played in so far. He did play last season, but he had a pretty good game, but he definitely could have played a little bit better. He had some really big incompletions. Like, he had one completion that could have went for a touchdown that he overthrew. So overall, I think PJ Walker had a really solid game, but I think for right now, I just view him more as a backup option. Now, I'm not saying that he can't, change. He could end up being a really good starter for Carolina if they need him to step up if he continues to play well. But for right now, I'm not going to say that PJ Walker is better than Sam Darnold based on 1 week of preseason action. I just need to see more. The Panthers' pass rush rotation was really impressive last game. Marquise Hayes, Gross Matus both had a sack. They both look really impressive. Baltimore's offensive line struggled last week, and Carolina's pass rush was really impressive last week. So I want to see, is the offensive line for Baltimore going to continue to struggle in this game? And is Carolina going to continue to flourish in that department? Or, is Baltimore's offensive line play going to improve? Or are they going to kind of try to neutralize the pass rush of Carolina? They have some pretty good depth there. Now, my players to watch for both of these two teams. For Carolina, I keep my eye out on rookie halfback Chuba Hubbard. I don't know why people keep calling him Chuba Hubbard or Chuba Hubbard. Like, keep mispronouncing his name. Is Chuba Hubbard, but he had a really, really good game last week. 7 carries, 80 rushing yards. He was really impressive. We definitely saw the explosiveness. And last season, we didn't really see the Chuba Hubbard that we saw back in 2019. He was kind of battling injuries for Oklahoma State last year. So when we saw him fully healthy for the first time last week, he was impressive. Now, he's definitely going to be Chris McCaffrey's backup. You lost Mike Davis. You're looking for a backup option there. And when Chris McCaffrey needs a break or he needs a breather, Chuba Hubbard is going to be the guy to step in. I also like what I saw out of rookie tight end Tommy Tremble. He had 3 catches for 19 yards and a touchdown. I was really impressed with what I saw out of him. Justice Hill. I'm still waiting to see Justice Hill have a good performance. I've yet to see anything really spectacular out of Justice Hill. And remind you, a lot of Ravens fans, when he was drafted a couple of years ago, were saying, oh, JT, he's going to be the change of pace back. You're tripping. Because I thought the Justice Hill pick wasn't a great selection, because I didn't really think he meshed with what Baltimore wanted to do when it came to running the football. Normally they have power backs who can run in between the tackles. Justice Hill's more of, a zone run, more of a running back that you want to get outside more. So for Justice Hill, he didn't really do anything last game. He had 5 carries for 8 rushing yards. So I'm still looking for Justice Hill to show me something, because I think there's a very good chance that we could see Justice Hill not make the final 53-man roster. Now, Geno Stone. Geno Stone was a really great player for Baltimore last week. 2 interceptions. He caught an interception against both Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. So I was really impressed with him. I was really impressed with his man cover skills. If there was, like team of the week awards giving out to, players of the week for, like certain teams, you definitely should have Geno Stone in that conversation because he probably had the best showcase for any cornerback that participated in the rookie season. Well, participated in the preseason last week. So I was really impressed with him. Edge rusher Jalen Ferguson, I think he had a pretty nice game. I want to see what he does in this game as well, going against the Carolina Panthers offensive line that's still trying to find themselves. And I think Jalen Ferguson could end up having a breakout season this year for the Baltimore Ravens. So this is it for my Baltimore Ravens versus Carolina Panthers Week 2 NFL preseason preview. Let me know some players that you're going to be watching, some things that you're going to be watching down in the comment section down below.